some really nice things there on that particular platform. And hopefully you can be privy to what we're doing here by being a part or member of our channel. Jay Day Talk, how are you, sir? Says I look nice and warm. It is, yeah, I need to be because it's really cold back here back in the shop. It's been raining a bit. Hopefully you're safe up there. Jay is a very talented individual who's not only an enthusiast but builder as well. He has a gorgeous twin turbo 997 that's just a joy to drive, sounds good, and looks the part. And its attention to detail is absolutely spectacular. So thank you so much, Jay. Through Supercar Sean, who I used to go around with many events. I think we've been to events with both these cars with him, based in Orange County. He's been a very good advocate of the Bisimoto brand and has brought me on board with a lot of very high-end car shows, which he's made me privy to. So I'm doing well, Sean. Hopefully you're doing great. I look forward to seeing you sometime this year. What's up, Dinosaur? Dino Dinosaur? Appreciate your kind words and love your screen name. Can I still buy an F22A can gear at CD7 Fujiwara? Maybe you can. I've looked at my inventory. I did discontinue that a while back, but I may have some black, maybe orange ones somewhere. Shoot me an email or a DM here on Instagram, or an email through sales@bisimoto.com, and hopefully I can get that for you without qualm. Yo, Bobby Chuhan, thank you so much for joining. Costa Rica is in the house, courtesy of Jimmy X Morales. Have you heard anything about Honda Ridgeline, about when it's going to be launched for a new version? No, I have not. It's so weird. I saw a HPD Ridgeline version on the way up here to work this morning in the rain. But yeah, I'm not familiar, but I can reach out to powers that may be, send me a reminder, and I'll see what I can do to get some insight. But personally, I have not heard anything yet. Yo, Bobby Chohan, thank you for joining. Aaron Kitchfield, have you ever been in a movie or TV show? I think you would do pretty well. Yeah, forgive me, Aaron. I don't do a very good job at self-promotion, but I have been in quite a few shows, to be honest with you, and I'll try and do some of them from memory. As a child back home in Nigeria, I was part of a show known as Children's Variety, and then finally I moved on to what was known as Junior Debate. So Junior Debate and Children's Variety were two shows. One was more like a children's debate, one was more like a children's Jeopardy or a youth Jeopardy, and the other one was like a Mickey Mouse Club. Hosted that for quite a few years when I was a child, was the main host of it, and did some dancing and singing, pretty crazy stuff. When I came to the United States, I had the opportunity to raise a few eyebrows as I was racing, and constantly got interviewed whether I was winning an event, not winning, or even if I qualified in top 16 or top 8. So I had the opportunity to do that. But beyond that, did a show with Netflix known as Fastest Car with season 1, episode 1. Had the opportunity to participate in a PBS show known as The Secret Lives of Scientists and Engineers, where I and many high-end scientists in the United States and North America participated and shared our secret lives above and beyond what we did daily. Had the opportunity to participate in another show. It was like a Motor Trend spinoff called Seduced by Speed. That's where I was an engineer that talked about the science behind some of the individuals that started car companies, whether they were legit or not. Think of it as American Greed meets cars. Kind of did that. Had some roles in Fast and Furious, just a brief cameo there. Had something in, I'm trying to remember this other movie that I did not too long ago. Drawing a blank on it, it'll come to me. Did some stuff with Top Gear USA. It was in the first episode of the Grand Tour. And then the most recent one I did was a full season of Motor Mythbusters, where that was a reboot of the Mythbusters franchise. And I had the opportunity to become one of the individuals in that. It was myself, Tori Bellisi, and Faye Hadley, where I replaced Grant, who passed away not too long ago, bless his soul. And I was the engineer on that particular show. So that being said, that's a little bit of my background in terms of film and movies. And Born to Race, yes, that was the other movie that I was in, with the wagon, the first generation wagon, which is really fun indeed, you know? On YouTube, we have our Motor Vita, who says, I love your Odyssey, beautiful sound and power. Thank you so much. Yes, it's one of my most prized vehicles. No matter what I build, it seems to be the most popular car no matter what. That was my first ever multi-cylinder above and beyond 4 cylinders I ever built. It was a V6, J35Y, still running strong. First one I ever built. in normal BC fashion, everything was over-engineered, and it's still going along quite nicely, you know? Okay, let's see here. Still waiting on that Panamera race electric car, says Tristan Evans 99. You may be waiting quite a while. Porsche's not too keen on me doing that. And I have a lot of projects in the works as well, but I'm sure I'll make something very exciting for you short term. 1KMS Racings, holla to you as well. Thank you so much. I want to talk to you. Emergency, says Ujiwagiri. Send me a DM if it's something I can help out with. I'll see what I can do. Is that Porsche RWB? Says it's a 2006. No, it's not. Well, Web the Griff, we've done quite a few of those in the Bisimoto stable, 6 to be exact, is a company where Akira Nakai, a very talented builder, takes a standard 911 or 930 that's of the 964, 993, even G-body era, even nowadays it's branched off into water-cooled stuff, and kind of gives it an exaggerated GT2 look. What are behind me are different versions of the very popular Group 5 race cars, courtesy of Porsche, known as the 935s. So the pink and gray one right there is a 935 Kremer, and the one in front of it is a 935 M16, which was America's response to this vehicle, with a lot of aero and improvements embedded into the chassis. The one behind me here is a vehicle that we built as a tribute car that's full electric, and that right there is a petrol twin turbo, 636 horsepower, and I don't know if you guys can see it on YouTube. I'll try and move it around to you right here so you can see what I'm talking about. And that one is a petrol one, making 920. Believe it or not, when these two have fun, the electric one, even with 300 horsepower less, will destroy and destroys the 920 horsepower one. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from being ill a couple past 4 weeks. So in terms of a sprint, whether it's 0 to 60, 8th mile, quarter mile, the electric just destroys the petrol. But if they went for a full top speed run, when you get past 160 miles an hour, 167, this one will start tapering off, and that will continue, and that can even eclipse 200, which is pretty cool indeed, right? So yeah, they are not RWBs, but 935s. Overland Land Supply, AV Overland Supply. Good seeing you, brother. For those of you who know him, he's based in Southern California, amazing individual. Hopefully you're staying safe as well, AV Overland. Does some crazy overlanding builds, whether it's Porsches, Toyotas, Nissans, whatever you need. If you're in SoCal area, you can even ship to him. He does stuff right and tastefully. I need to learn a lot from him because I need to build an overland car sooner or later. And he's the one I'll go to. And the Civic Wagon, says Motor Tech from YouTube. Yes, Top Gear with the Odyssey, absolutely. Where Rutledge drove it and had a blast with it. That was fun indeed. Fun stuff. All right, let's see here. Any recent projects you've been working on? Yes, there are quite a few. I have an array of Porsches on the other side of me here that we're doing some great conversions for. I have a Caterham that's actually working on the BMS wiring this morning. There is a supercar that Tim and I have been doing some great things in terms of installing an engine to make an all-wheel drive 1300 horsepower setup. We've already started on our SEMA projects as well for this year, which we have 3, 2 electric, 1 petrol. So it's quite busy here. We're constantly working away without qualm. Wow, says Sang Life. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you're doing well. Love the Porsche, says Ocean. Likewise, love them too, both petrol and also electric. How's the weather over there, says Joseph Cannon 600. It's very wet. It's been raining non-stop since the weekend. And I think we have this winter storm for Southern California, which is not very commonplace, until late tomorrow. So that being said, we are safe here at the shop. I'm also safe at my residence. Not so much positivity with other parts of the country. Or the states. There were 3 deaths in California that I was aware of due to downed trees. There's a 41-year-old, 45-year-old, and 81-year-old, bless their souls, that passed away from results of the storm, all involving trees, which is quite unfortunate. So personally, my team and I are safe, but others haven't been so fortunate. And I hope that as the rains continue, which we enjoy, that we don't have any more casualties or challenges across the board. Hello, Abdullah. Number 295, appreciate you joining. Hello, brother, good seeing you indeed. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, CB7s for joining. I appreciate that. Jason QXQ, thank you for joining as well. Are you a machine, says Sang Life. No, I'm not. I'm human just like you, unless you're a bot. I'm Bea. Good seeing you as well. Thank you so much for joining. Which car is that? Jason QX. There are quite a few behind me. I don't know what you're referring to, but it's a Sport front wheel drive Civic here, the Bisimoto K3V 935 Kremer K3, and the Bisimoto M16 935 twin turbo. So those are the three that are right behind me. I figure with your proximity to Hollywood, yes, we are about, without traffic, about a 45 minute to an hour drive from here to Hollywood. But yeah, it's been quite crazy out there, lots of flooding. Let's see here. Thank you so much, J&J's Vintage. Appreciate the kind words indeed. Are these all Porsches behind you? There are two behind me and there's Honda Civic right there. So a little different there, Wantang from YouTube. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see here. All right. Oh, what did I miss? How about them Cowboys? Unfortunately, I think Jonathan and I were talking about that early last week. I'm not big onto American football. I'm not really big onto sports. He even asked me about Formula One yesterday. Shame on me. All I do is work. And when I'm not working, I'm gonna spend time with family. But I really don't participate in any sports. Didn't participate in sports growing up. Even though soccer is big in my country, and even I have family members who are very involved with soccer. I have cousins who play. I have a brother-in-law who owns a team. It's just not been my cup of tea, unfortunately, you know? Is there ever a scenario where California would bar a B-Series Turbo Integra with a conservative tune? Yes, it is possible. It is possible for California to do that, but things have to be submitted. If you have a setup that is proper, with all emissions equipment intact, that's turbocharged, and with emissions that are equal to or better than the year of the chassis that's in, or if your engine is newer, if it's equal to or better than the engine year, SEMA can help you get that passed. If you have any questions, give them a call. They're not too far. They're in Diamond Bar. They can actually assist you in getting that turbo kit approved. Now, it may be a little expensive process, but it can be done. And we have partners that can help with that indeed. Sultan Tani from Jordan, thank you so much for joining this Tech Tuesday all the way across the pond. Silas Eversto, thank you so much. Appreciate the salutation indeed. Thoughts on free valve camless heads, says IV Jill. I think it's fantastic. Camshafts are amazing in being able to actuate valves to allow for proper function, whether it's for power, economy, or efficiency in an internal combustion engine. However, there are limitations because of the physical attributes of the camshaft, the buckets, the rocker arms, whatever assembly is used to assist the camshafts in actuating those valves. Now, limitations have been minimized by many companies. Honda was really a pioneer with the VTEC assembly, where it simulates a smaller load VTEC, smaller load camshaft at low RPMs, and as you go up in RPMs, it switches over to a higher cam, which is almost like putting a small cam in for low RPM grunt, throwing it off mid-range, and getting a high RPM camshaft in the same setup. And then taking that a step further with iVTEC and advancing and retarding the entire camshaft assembly. In a twin cam assembly, you have the opportunity to advance or retard the intake and leave the exhaust fixed. Some other applications are much more advanced, even from Porsche, do both of intake and exhaust, to allow us to have the broadest power curve possible. The cool thing about free valve camless heads is that you can have infinite type of cams. With VTEC, iVTEC, MeVec, VarioCam, whatever you make, each manufacturer may call their own system, there are limitations of having physical cams in the head. When you have a free valve camless head, you have the opportunity to have infinite amount of camshafts. You many a time don't even need a throttle body. Yes, you can simulate an engine where air is limited or not even allowed to go in at all using a camless head because the valves are infinitely controlled by an ECU. And this ECU, this computer system, allows you to simulate very low lift cams, long duration cams, high lift, short lift, multiple overlap, no overlap whatsoever. It's amazing. So my thoughts are that they're extremely beneficial. The only challenge is because of the nature of those cams and the technology involved, it can be quite expensive. And with that expense, it's not very easy for most manufacturers to have them to be as ubiquitous as you would with a standard camshaft. But I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it's something that should be incorporated whenever possible. I know that Koenigsegg has done a good job with some of their camless heads. I know there's a slight variant from Dodge or Stellantis, which is called them now. with a particular model head that allowed them to do such as well and increase efficiency significantly. So it's a win-win. Love it indeed. Great technology. I find it extremely appealing. And for someone like self who likes to play around with tuning, it's an amazing opportunity to have infinite amounts of possibilities. You can vary your duration, you can vary even static or actual compression inside the engine. It's a win-win. I love it. Blue Top Performance, Age 22 from Orlando, Florida. Good seeing you, brother. Hopefully your weather is much nicer than ours. Joe is a talented builder, designer, and congratulations on winning your Supra. Yes, he won a Supra for $20. He did a raffle and was a lucky recipient of this. If my memory serves me correctly, it was a Mark V Supra recently. So Blue Top Performance, Age 22, congratulations and enjoy that car indeed. All right, let's see here. Wow, so much support, so much love here. Thank you so much. What's good, Alum? Clarence, how are you doing, Clarence Alums? Good friend of mine who I've known for many years, since the 90s. Used to race with us. Had a very clean four-door Civic, which is great indeed. Thank you so much for joining, Clarence. Hope you're doing well. And the family, I'm sure the family's grown. The kids have grown so much. My greetings to everyone indeed. I look forward to seeing one of these events sooner or later. Donsko 210, thank you so much. Appreciate your presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Joseph Cannon 600, SEMA. SEMA is not just an entity that puts together a wonderful show towards the end of the year in the October-November timeframe. They are a huge advocate for enthusiast rights. They lobby for us in Washington to make sure that we don't get in trouble. One of the reasons why you and I can still race today is because of them. One of the reasons why we can still get some type of resemblance of automotive aftermarket parts is because of their influence. So yes, not only that, there are times that companies that are not like ours will need something done. I'll give you a example in terms of 3D printing. My 3D printer is very limited. I have friends also who have 3D printers who are also limited in terms of scope and size. When I needed to 3D print a large prototype for an intercooler, SEMA was able to print that out for me at a very competitive price. So they assisted me in becoming a better engineer and being able to test a device before I put it in production with my partners from CSF. So that being said, when it comes to getting things approved, you won't believe how many companies you and I know very well, that use SEMA as a means to get their components approved by the EPA and by the California Air Resource Board. So yes, when it comes to getting things barred, they have an in-house facility, actually two of them. They have one in Detroit to help the OEMs, and they also have one here in Diamond Bar where they can test the vehicles in-house for particulates, for gases, you name it. They can standardize just the same way that the EPA or CARB wants to see and provide reports in the way that they find appealing and a follow-up. They are amazing. So I'm very happy to be part of that group, to be able to see what they do. I'm glad and fortunate enough to have walked their facility to see what they have going on for our community. They are amazing individuals indeed. Let's see, RideFab Miami says, love you, BC. I'm building a D15 for my shop's race car. Good choice because of your history. Thank you for what you did for all of us. You are very welcome. I appreciate that indeed. Initially, I pushed the D Series performance because I couldn't afford to do a swap. When I was in school, and the B Series was the hardest thing to do. I could see people like Dr. Charles doing some crazy stuff, Lucky Mike doing a swap as well. Ramadan, I couldn't afford that because then it was like $6,000 to do a swap, and that was really expensive. I couldn't afford it. So I took my knowledge of engineering and my desire to experiment and my ability to embrace failure to be able to create products that allowed me to succeed and win races and championships with that D Series motor. And then finally, when I had enough money to actually do whatever I wanted to, when I got my corporate job after graduating, I kind of stayed with a single cam and went to F22A, which is another unloved engine. I was able to use the same technology from the D Series and apply it to the F22A with even more success, which is great indeed, you know? So yeah, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate you indeed. Thank you for that, says Joseph Cannon 600. My pleasure indeed. Let's see here. So there's something that, thank you so much, YKB7 for saying those are cool cars. Appreciate that, dude. Is that blue in a Honda? Yes, it is. This is a Honda Civic EG with a K-Series swap, turbocharged, full track car with a sequential gearbox in it as well. 5-speed to be exact. And we're going to be tuning that sometime soon. All right, let's see here. What is the difference between natural cooled versus the other one? Natural cooled? I need you to expand on that question, Brian, you four. When you say natural cooled, are you talking about intercooled assemblies where you're air to air versus water to air? Or are you talking about an internal combustion engine of a naturally aspirated? Or are you talking about air-cooled engines in terms of what you would see in a Porsche or VW classic vehicle? Please let me know. I'd love to be able to expand on that question for you. All right, let's see here. Wow, so much support. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the love. Hello, Daniel H to B. Love seeing you indeed. Thank you so much for joining. It has been a while. Bisimoto's the best. Glad to see you. Thank you, Jarasta92. Appreciate the kind words indeed. All right, as I keep going out here, wow, so much love here. There's something I really want to talk about. Two things actually. One that's more technical based to provide some insight on some activity that goes on in internal combustion turbocharged engines that most people don't know or care about, but is also very good to know because it can allow you to make good decisions when it comes to choosing components for your car. Secondly, something I found in our storage room, which is very exciting, which I thought we're all out of, but we have plenty of. So let's talk about both. First of all, let's talk about the wastegate. And this is probably the easiest way for me to describe a wastegate assembly for you. This, for those of you turbo heads may recognize, is a turbine for a turbocharged setup. And this turbine is quite important in allowing your turbocharged setup to work properly. Happy Tuesday to you, also Dapper Dabber 710. Appreciate you indeed. Now, what typically happens in an internal combustion engine that turbocharges, you have this opportunity where, without boring you too much, air and fuel go into an engine and increase exhaust through combustion. Those exhaust gases go into the turbine here. So your exhaust manifold connects to this, and the exhaust turbine gases go into here. And with the velocity of the exhaust gases combined with the heat, it goes into this little section here, and there's a wheel that connects to the turbo compressor, which is directly called to another wheel that helps compress gases into the intake. And then exhaust gases tend to escape from here into the exhaust system. The more that exhaust gases are being formed, the more it can turn the compressor wheel, which then pushes more air into your engine. And with tuning, or the right amount of fuel going into the engine, it'll make even more exhaust gases. More exhaust gases, more compressed air, more exhaust gases, more compressed air. And it can continue until your engine expires, or the turbo goes crazy, right? You can keep building boosts infinitely, unless you do something to limit the amount of boost, the amount of air that's being pushed into your engine to create power. And that's where this wastegate comes into play. This wastegate has this very nice diaphragm inside this wastegate actuator. There's a little nipple right here, and that is always connected to a boost source. And let's say that you wanted to have 10 psi as a limit for your system so you don't blow up or hurt things. This wastegate has a 10 psi diaphragm so that when 10 psi goes in here, it actuates and opens a door here. Just pushes open a door. And I don't think you can see this, but it's kind of hard to see. But inside here is a little flap. Right there, you can see YouTube. Right there, I just want to see it. At 10 psi, this pushes open. The flap opens up, and it wastes some of the exhaust gases. And by wasting it at a 10 psi, if it goes lower than 10 psi, this will close up to get it back up to 10 psi, and then it wastes again, and keep you at that constant boost pressure. That is such a very clever way to keep things safe and ideal for you in your turbocharged system. And I want to use this because this is a perfect example of an integrated setup where there's an internal wastegate that allows that to happen and have you experience some good boost control. In external wastegates that many of you have seen in high performance applications, this doesn't exist in a turbine. Turbine still works the same way, but the wastegate is before it goes into a turbine. So you have this collector or pipe that goes into a turbine, and the large wastegate is on that. So we get to a certain boost pressure, it wastes out. Well, what if you want more than that? Well, you can limit the amount of boost going to the wastegate, and that is your kind of boost control. Some people do it mechanically with a knob. Some people do it electronically, like I do with a boost control solenoid. So that's pretty much the synopsis on how a wastegate application works. Very simple, very efficient, very straightforward. There are other more clever ways you can do things by wasting using intake. We'll get into that in some other Tech Tuesday. It's pretty good indeed, you know? John Jenkins on YouTube says, does it seem that it would be feasible to have the free valve technology retrofitted on something like the beloved J series, or would they have to be designed ground up? No, it's very possible. Using pneumatics, oil pressure, you name it, it can be done. It's just a very expensive application, especially when you're doing it for an engine where it wasn't designed for it. But yes, it can be done with success, just a little more on the pricier side, you know? Oh no, Thai E95, 92 saying, Sally's selling my E92 twin turbo. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully you can get into something somewhat fun in the near future. Yeah, it's always tough when you have to get rid of something that you cherish so much. And speaking of cherishing, what I was gonna tell you guys, I found something in our storage room. Look at this. Uber rare, very rare. There's YouTube. This is a lean design pin from the Bisimoto wagon. And they made very limited one of these. We sold out very quickly when we first put it in the market. I found a batch of them in my storage room. I'm gonna put them back up. I'll put out reminders, but you can get this. And these hold value very nice. These are really, really lots of fun and really awesome. And it even has a turbo fan on the back of the wagon. Really nice. So Lean and his team did a good job. I need that pin, says 93OXG. I will do a reminder in the next day or so, and I'll put it up and get them while they last. They're pretty, very, 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 very good collectibles and hold value and increase value significantly. I remember the pin made for that one, I think it retailed for like $39, and on eBay now it's like for a couple $100, which is pretty crazy, right? So yeah, pretty good indeed. Thank you so much, RiFab Miami. Appreciate your support. Do you data tune over there at the shop, says MCBB6. I used to do quite a bit. In the event now where EPA is very, very strict and agents are going around, we kind of pull back from dyno tuning because I can't touch anything streetable. I can't touch it. Full track cars, not a problem. And when I say full track cars, if I'm tuning a car and an agent comes and runs the VIN on your car, it cannot show up being registered anywhere. So that being said, full track cars, sign rails, no problem. But anything that's street faring, I cannot touch with a keyboard or plug-in at all. Just can't do it. We are forbidden from exploring that at all, which is quite sad, but it's true. So hopefully that answers your question properly. If you have any questions, just reach out to us once again at sales@bisimoto.com. So that being said, guys, I want to come in here today and talk about some really good things. You guys had some great questions earlier on today as well. It's been raining cats and dogs, but that won't be much for long. It's actually subsided a little bit nowadays, or in the past couple of minutes, which is good. But long story short, just gave you some insight around the wastegate and how that works, both internal and external. And also the fact that we have some really cool pins that I just found recently, which is pretty nice, you know? Oh, so Corvold had a question. You may be missing my question, but the VC200 has a pin extraction tool for the plugs, which costs $150 from Molex. Is there a cheaper alternative? Oh yeah, I remember that. I have not seen one. As a matter of fact, I've had such a difficult time, Corvold, extracting pins from the pin kit of 200 that if I put in the wrong pin, I just sever it and then go somewhere else. I've done that, excuse me, God, I'm still recovering, where I have populated the header assembly and I have such a hard time extracting the pin, and I may be off by one, I'll just go ahead and sever it and then get another pin and put it in there. Like, that's how bad it's been. So I'm not familiar with anything more cost effective, at least not within my arsenal. I've seen the one from Molex and I just refuse to buy it. I just have to be very careful, double, triple careful when I'm pinning in the VC200s or 300s, so I won't have any challenges whatsoever, you know? Okay, let's see here. All Motor Tech says, wow, it's so cold. I actually see my breath. Wow, it's cold back here. I can even see my breath, how cold it is back here in the shop. Anyway, what is the best build for H22 or H23? What are your recommendations? I appreciate your input. So, it depends. H23, I love the displacement that you can get with H23, right? You have the 97 millimeter crank opposed to 90.7. You have the ability to have that nice torque. You don't have FRM sleeves on most of the ones we have here in the US, so you can do a little boring and honing without a challenge. So that being said, it's been really good in terms of displacement, but with head flow, the H22 is pretty good. It is pretty good. The one thing that allows me the opportunity to take advantage of the block configuration of an H22 and H23, but also have the capability to make a ton of power, is the F22A. That's why I run it. Even though it's single cab, those engines are cheap and get in junkyards for $200. I've got it for free sometimes. We'll just leave it and I pick apart. And you can bore and port that head better than you can get for H22. When you start going crazy with H22, you have limitations with the intake port where you start bringing to water jackets. I have done crazy huge ports with F22As without qualm. And then the valve train on the H22 also gives you some limitations where I can get custom rockers with the F22A and have very big 600 lift camshafts on that. Very difficult to do with H22 unless you go roller, which adds more expense, right? It goes crazy, gets more crazier and heavier. But between the two, I do like the H22 with its natural aspirated or turbocharged just because of the head, because the head really does have the highest potential for power in internal combustion engines, all things being equal. And in that whole family, that's one of why my choice is the F22A. Yes, it's non-VTEC, but in terms of power and being able to kick butt, I'm telling you, I ran 920s in my Insight that's in the showroom over there with the F22A. There's been no H22 that's done that on petrol, ever. They have to go like maybe to some crazy nitro to even be able to get close to that. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Hope all is well. Boo said 1ZZ, thanks for a thumbs up. Appreciate you indeed. Well guys, it's been a slice of heaven. I do have to fly. I'm also getting some sniffles here from being back here in the shop talking and coughing and all that madness. But thank you so much for joining, guys. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Russia. Thank you for joining us here, Sherelle. Appreciate you indeed. Yes, Marvin's, yes, it was. H23 was pretty crazy. Absolutely. That's really a fun setup. And he had like a JDM head, which is nice, right? Because it's pretty much akin to what you would see with H22. But yeah, those are pretty nice. But if it's a standard H23 that you see in, let's say, a base model Prelude, nah, not my cup of tea. Anyway, all right, guys, enjoy. See you same time next week. Hopefully a nice vacation. Hopefully much nicer weather. Talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Cheers.